Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I guess I crashed, I don't know, somewhere around 3 or so, and it's now 11 o'clock. I've been up for a few hours. So, I guess I only got about 3 hours before, well, actually it would have been more like 4.5, 5 hours before, and I got about 7 hours now. So, um, maybe I caught up a little bit, but it was actually more just kind of pushing it forward a little bit, and actually maybe even putting the sleep off a little. When I do this, I find that the resulting day, which is now a night shift, it's 11 o'clock and I'm just starting my day, is actually real long. So, got up at 11, that means, I could, the whole cycle thing just broke, right? So now I'm starting a new cycle. Um, and it'll probably be even a little bit more. So I'm up at 11 o'clock today. Probably be up at something like 3 a.m. tomorrow because I'll be up longer than I normally would be because I slept longer than I did. Um, this probably sounds crazy, but it's maybe remarkably natural. And maybe it's crazy that it sounds crazy. So today is also the end of the month, which means I had my check transferred into my account. Um, and I've spent the evening dealing with the ramifications of that. I only really have one bill, which is internet, and it's reasonable. It's only $30 a month. I'm paying for the kind of minimum access that is available here. Um, I'd pay for half the speed if it was half the price. I don't need really fast internet. Um, or to rephrase that, I think that the very minimum thing that they offer is really fast internet. And the prices that they offer, or the plans that they offer, are just, you can't download that fast from anywhere. Um, so, yeah, I only really have one bill, besides rent, and other sort of monthly things, like I've got to pay a little bit of the hormone costs and stuff, but there's really only one, bill that I get at the beginning of the month, and that's internet. Um, how much is disability in Canada, anyways? Well, it is determined by the provinces. So I'm living in Ontario, which is one of the more progressive provinces in the country. I'm not going to give an exact dollar amount, but I will say that considering that I live in one of the lowest rent places in Ontario, um, the rent here is always going to be on average lower than anywhere else. So I'm better positioned here than I would be if I lived in Toronto or Ottawa. In fact, that's why I moved from Ottawa, was because I knew I'd be on disability for probably ever. And the relative costs are a lot lower here, and it's really just due to rent. Um, Certainly, if I lived in Ottawa or Toronto, I would have cause for activism. It would be relevant, but I probably take a different stance than activists take. Um, the issue is rent. It's not. I wouldn't be arguing for larger sums um, on social assistance. I would be arguing that we need, tighter rent controls. And I think that's something that's kind of relevant for everybody. Um, there's been a movement recently to increase the minimum wage, and I don't want to say I disagree with it. Certainly, the minimum wage could come up quite a bit, but the idea of a $15 minimum wage, the idea that that's some kind of panacea, some kind of solution, it really isn't. The reason that it's so hard to live right now is because rent takes up 80% of most people's income. And if you increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour, then rent will still take up 80% of your income. Um, on top of that, prices will increase to offset the wage increases. So prices go up along with wages, rent goes up. In the end, nobody wins except for the property class, the rentiers. Um, and that's something that, I don't really think that liberal economics provided very good solutions, but I do think that it correctly identified the problem. The problem in our society is the same as it was 300 years ago. It's a rentier class. That's what causes all of the inequality that we have. It's not, I mean, it is that wages are too low relative to profits, but it's the rentier class that that cements it, that takes it all away, right? So, the person, somebody goes to work, 40, 45 hours a week at a McDonald's, and they come out of work and they give all of their money to the person that owns the place that they live in, who doesn't work, right? So what they're doing is they're taking it's theft in a sense, but it's necessary because people need a place to live, and you know the old school liberals, they wanted, they had all these ideas about how to correct this. Um, in truth, all of those ideas that they had have really just simply made the problem worse. Um, but they got it. They got it correct, right? So even if the McDonald's continues to pay the minimum wage, which here is, I think, somewhere around $12 an hour. It's been a while since I had a job, but I think it's somewhere around $12. If you increase that, it just goes to the property owners. The rentiers will just increase their cut. So getting people to kind of understand that there's, it's a systemic problem. And the government, of course, largely protects this rentier class because it is the rentier class, which was what the liberal economists understood and what modern libertarians today understand. Again, I don't think libertarians have good answers as to how to get at this problem, but they understand it may be better than theorists on the left do. So yeah, I'm able to. I put myself in a place where the rent is low, specifically because I understood that, and I'm able to live okay because I'm in a low rent area. That doesn't exist throughout all of the province, although it does exist in large parts of it. Really, the only really bad spots are going to be Toronto and Ottawa, which is, of course, also where roughly half of the population lives. But yeah, I'm not going to stand up and oppose wage increases, but I understand that it's not the answer. The answer, you've got to go over the rentiers, after the rentiers, and prevent them. I've got a good landlord here. There's no such thing as a good landlord. I have a reasonable landlord here, and I'm in a good situation. So I got the things paid. What I'm going to be doing for the next couple of hours is taking a look over at the show schedules in Detroit to see what it is that I need to put some cash aside for. My grocery bill this month is going to be a little lower because of it's all just, I'm going to be eating spaghetti for weeks, probably the whole month, and actually even into December a little bit. So that'll keep my costs down a little. So I'll have a little bit of extra cash there for concerts. It looks like November's going to be a pretty good month, and that's after the last several months have been pretty lackluster. Although I'm realizing I missed a show in August. I missed Giraffes in August. That's something I would have gone to if I had not missed it. But from, I guess, June through to September was pretty weak. And I've noticed that happens here in Detroit. It's cyclical. You get the best shows in the fall and the spring. The winter and the summer are both always just dead, or at least relative to my tastes anyways. Maybe my tastes are becoming a little bit more obscure. So that means that I need to really prioritize the not smoking this month. That's something I knew was going to be an issue when I came here, that I was going to have to make choices about, smoke or this kind of thing. This is the first time it's actually really seriously come up, though. If I want to hit all the shows I want to hit this month, I'm going to have a close to zero smoke budget. So that's, that's something I wanted to do anyways, so that's good. It provided me with a little bit of a stronger incentive to really take that extra step in stopping for good. Um, Another thing is today's Halloween. Um, what am I doing on Halloween? Nothing. Um, it's partly by choice. There's a few reasons. If I took a look around and I saw something that I thought was really awesome, then yeah, I'd go to it. Less because it's Halloween, but more just because I'd want to go. And in fact, maybe my criteria might be a little less stringent to check something out on Halloween as opposed to some other day. But I don't see anything. Um, there's a Deaf Haven concert, but I mean, it's a little too bro for me, even though they get shit in the metal community for being girly, if that's girly. I like punk music, but even the supposedly girly metal is still too macho for me. So, I mean, I gave it a listen, I gave it a couple of tries, but it's not my thing. So I was thinking about that. I was thinking maybe heading to a I don't want to even call it a rave, a dance show at the old Magic Stick. The second factor was the weather. If it was nicer out, I might be a little bit more likely to consider it. But I mean, if I'm gonna go dancing, I don't like wearing, giant sweaters and having like 4 sweaters with me, kind of thing. It's just, I do like to dance, and I will go dancing, but it's more of a summer thing. Um, and the other reason is I'm getting a little old for partying on Halloween. So I don't expect to do anything at all. Um, I'll just be in tonight. Um, I've got some show listings to check out still for the rest of the night. I tend to clean at the beginning of the month, but that's going to be a few more days because I still got some cigarettes to get through. And I mean, this is going to be a long day, so I will get back to the troubleshooting by the end of the day, but it probably won't be till the sun comes up. So I need to begin this walkthrough with the question of whether or not you like Hawaiian pizza. Because I've got a lot of pushback from this recipe, and it really doesn't make a lot of sense to me because if you like Hawaiian pizza, then you should like pineapple on your spaghetti. Now, I would normally make this with fresh pineapple, but I happen to have a can of pineapple sitting around, and this month is about getting rid of old food I have lying around, so it makes perfect sense. So what I did was I turned my stove on when I went to go chop up my green peppers. So it's already fairly warm. Get the rest of those peppers off of there. And I never got the spatula, but in second thought, I don't really think I need it. Okay, so make sure that's there like that. And then just dump the pineapple in. And that will simmer for a little while. But this is, when I first made this, what I was actually trying to do was emulate kind of an Asian tasting sauce. So it's not just pineapple, it's actually spicy pineapple. So the other ingredient that is required for the sauce to allow it to simmer is a good helping of Frank's or whatever other hot sauce you like. I like this stuff. It's got a kind of a vinegar base, so it's kind of spicy and sour at the same time. And maybe that's actually it's hot and sour, right? It's Asian, that kind of Asian-y hot and sour kind of taste. So I'm gonna let that simmer for a bit. I don't know, 5 minutes or something like that. And then I'll come back to it after. Now, just when it started to simmer, I added an extra dosage of hot sauce in there. Just to give that extra little boost. And you can see that it's, well, I hope you can see that it's just starting to simmer. Maybe you can even hear it. You heard the simmering. Okay. last thing, you'll notice I like cheese. I put cheese on everything. And it's just for just like a very short amount of time, just to get it melted in there. I'm gonna put this down. You don't want to leave the cheese in there too long, otherwise it disappears. If you cook with cheese, you know what I mean. Just enough to melt it. A little stir here. You can watch the cheese melt. So we get a hot and sour spicy cheese melt in the sauce. It's also good if you like broccoli. I haven't had any in the house for a while, but it's a good mix in there as well. Or any other kind of green thing. I'd avoid tomatoes in this mix. It's not going to taste good. Okay, so get that off the stove. And my spaghetti was out of the fridge, so I put it in the microwave for about a minute, just to warm it up a little. Put that on there like that. And there you go. I'll have to take the rest out with a spoon, but we can turn it right off. It's hot and sour, spicy pineapple and cheese, quasi-Asian spaghetti. It's actually, I should point out, it's actually linguine. I've been calling it spaghetti, but I like the bigger noodles. So I've got an extra ingredient in my smoothie today, that yellow stuff, which is pineapple. Pineapple in smoothies, on the one hand, it is a delicious addition. It gives it that extra kind of punch. But the problem with pineapples in a smoothie is the consistency. You gotta make sure you really blend it really, really well. Otherwise, you get this kind of stringy kind of leftover, which is not particularly enjoyable to drink. But the addition and actual taste is very it's quite powerful, and it's quite good if you like pineapples. It's just like a tangy sort of pineapple-y kind of addition, especially with with the strawberries and the cherries. It kind of brings that out a little bit more. It's late, and I spent the last 36 hours arguing on the internet and playing around on things. I am gonna try. It's the same basic thing. I'm afraid to go in there. It's so much dread as to it not working. I'm just afraid to sit down and do it. I did upload a new track to my music channel. It's the promo for the In Rejected Outtakes disc, which is dated to 1999 and won't come up on the Ultra Reality for about a year. But this will come up in about 6 months or so, something like that. So I got something done today anyways. I am actually going to go venture in there right about now and see what happens. It's almost 5, and it's been a long day, so I'm starting to nod off. After all the apprehension about walking in here, I didn't get much done, but I was able to convince myself that what's here right now sounds very good. Meaning that there certainly was an issue with the initial driver, that was resolved, but anything else that's remaining to fix or not fix seems to be entirely within the script. So I'll be back at that tomorrow with a higher degree of confidence that things are going to work out okay. Going through with sequentially with different parts of the script until I do or do not find anything. But I mean, it's going to be I'm going to need to sit down and listen for about 3 hours between each session just to ensure that it's stable. So it's going to be a long process. But I'm stoked for tomorrow. For right now, like I said, it's about 5 a.m. It means I'll be up, I guess, probably sometime around noon. And I'll talk to you then later.